right, it's Super Centex Podcast with Bryce, Chad, and Michael, 2026 edition. As we roll into the new year, boys, did you have a good holiday?
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. You know, my family and I went to the Orange Bowl, and we have a family motto that goes back more than 40 years, the old days of the Southwest Conference basketball tournament. Have fun anyway. And I think we managed to have fun anyway. So,
that's a good call. Good call.
Yeah. I was telling Rod 8 a lot how much more I enjoy sports games that I don't care about.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, good call. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When you're invested, there are high highs and there are low lows.
That's why I keep telling people, sports is the worst drug ever invented.
No doubt, no doubt. Well, let's talk some sports, specifically basketball to start. So last season, Rappaport not only shocked the state, but I would say the Ravens shocked us in the process, becoming the first Central Texas boys team to win state in a quarter century. Um, Even as the Ravens stacked wins together in the playoffs, I think we all still thought that like Marlin or Hearn was going to be their nemesis in the playoffs. But they proved us wrong, proved everyone wrong. So my question is this: is there a 2026 Central Texas equivalent to the Ravens? Like this quietly great team lurking right under our noses?
Well, I think Michael has seen every team in Central Texas play already this season.
Not true. Not true. Not true.
He's on his way.
Yeah, I might be close, but I'm not quite there yet. So
I'll let you take first crack. That's my way of saying I'll let you have first crack at it.
man, it's hard. It's hard to answer that because I mean, for those of us who remember, I mean, the Ravens were just literally, I mean, they were just kind of pecking their way along and were never ranked all year. But just kind of win. I mean, I think at one point they won like almost 30 games in a row. I mean, it was like 20 plus games in a row. I mean, they were
Plus, a
just
number of those in the playoffs were close wins. You know, it
hmm
wasn't like they were
hmm
blowing everybody out.
Right, right.
Here's what I'll say to my question. Go ahead and feel free to pick a ranked team. You don't have to
Sure.
go off completely off the radar.
Well, I mean, I will say there's two teams that came to mind. In fact, I would say both of these are teams I have not seen, but I've just kind of kept up with. And one's a little bit out of our coverage zone, but still technically in it. The Belton boys, they were as of like I think a month ago they had just entered the state rankings in 5A. But then they've slipped back out. I think they lost like one or two games, and they're about to go into district play. But that's a team that returned, I think, all five starters from last year, and they were good. I mean, I think Chad, you were there when they beat University in Belton last year, and you saw. I mean, when that 3-point ball is falling for them, they can really put up points in a hurry. And
Well,
I
let me
think
jump in there.
yeah.
Coached by Philip McCaslin, who, of course,
hmm
used to be at China Spring, did a good job with the Cougars, and then, I think wanted a chance to maybe coach on a little bit higher level, and has done a good job in
he
Belton.
has.
And you may have seen just this week that they named the Victory Bowl coaches, and he's one of those. So
Right,
getting his
right.
chance to coach in a fun All-Star game this summer.
Good dude, good dude. And again, I think they're, look, everyone looks at that district and it's kind of easy to notice the cream rise to the top in Colleen Ellison, Belton, and University. And I think that's probably going to be your 1, 2, and 3 finish. But I mean, hey, could this be the year Belton wins that district? Like, I mean, I think right now they could probably be. I know Colleen Ellison's still really good, but if I don't know if you guys have kept up with them at all. I don't think. I mean, they aren't as dominant, at least so far in this non-district slate, as they've been in years past. And as we know, they've lost a couple of guys, including some guys to our area. So, um, again, I think Belton's going to be really good. One more team, real quick, I'll say on the girls' side, they're not as quietly dominant, but I think they're going to be a major player in 2A Division Two. Is the Mart girls? They just picked up a big district win over Chilton, and that Chilton girls team is not bad. And I watched Mart in the by district round last year when they played Frost up in West. And Frost is, I mean, so Frost, by the way, their girls team is state ranked right now. They're good. And Mark pushed them pretty good last year, and they were really, really young. They had a freshman post who was really good. So I think they're going to be a team to watch out for too.
Chad?
You know, we're talking about doing what Rappaport did last year. It's kind of like, we all know that the division thing and the impact that it had. We had a couple of state semifinalists and then a state champion in volleyball last year. And then we had our first boys basketball state champion in 25 years. And we had uh, baseball and softball state champions and all of that. A couple of girls basketball. Well, I guess we ended up just having one girls basketball state champion, but Fairfield kind of jumped back up there where they had been. And I mean, let's not like deny the fact that splitting that divisions gave a lot more people a chance to
Yeah.
raise the state
I mean, when you
championship.
double the number of champs,
Hmm.
that's
Right.
absolutely
Well,
going to open it
Hmm.
and
up.
one
Um,
thing I'll say, like Rappaport will say that themselves too. I've talked like
hmm.
they do not shy away from the fact. Like they're
Hmm.
like, look, now we are confident and believe we could have beaten anyone, but hey, they didn't have to play Martin's Mill. Like that could have been different. And like they will say
Hmm.
that. They will admit
Hmm.
that.
Well, and I think, the team that I think of being the Bosqueville volleyball team made it to the state semifinals. We've talked a lot on the podcast about the Bosqueville boys basketball team and what they've done. They seem to have a little bit, maybe got bogged down a little bit in the holiday era. Those games, they took some L's that I wouldn't have expected. I don't know how good Normandy is. I think they lost to Normandy, but we'll see if they can get it cranked up and going and make that kind of a run.
Bosqueville's also been a little banged up lately, so I think they're starting to
Yeah.
get some guys back
Okay.
going into district play.
I'll mention three teams and we'll do it real quickly because I haven't, seen any of these teams play, but I'd be interested to certainly hear y'all's thoughts. So the Fairfield boys are 12-3, ranked
Hmm.
like 13th in Class 3A, and it makes me wonder, if that football success that they had is maybe bleeding over a little bit into basketball. We know what the Fairfield girls can do, and Chad mentioned it. Obviously, reigning state champs, but yeah, that seems like a program on the rise. Uh, you know, it'll be very interesting. I don't know if we have an update on Marnico Thomas, but if he gets healthy, I mean, to me, Chilton would be a player to watch, don't you think, Mike?
Yeah, so I don't know if you've kept. I think they have like 2 wins on the year. They obviously haven't had Nico because he broke his collarbone late in the football season. Obviously played quarterback for them, but yeah. So I do know that now he could be cleared today. He might be making his season debut today in
Tuesday,
basketball.
as
But
we record
yeah.
this.
But I know he visited the doctor recently this week and was hoping like the goal was for him to get like the expectation was for him to get cleared as of Monday this week. So we might be seeing him soon.
One little addition, I heard from the rumor mill that Bruce Folletti was bringing in a player that had actually been drafted in the 2024 NBA draft.
Shut up. I had to be on the radio or Zoom or whatever at 7:40 this morning with the Big 12,
Man,
some show they do talking about James Najee. Um,
man.
anyway, one other quick team I'll mention before we go on to another topic. I know Michael has seen this team, but the Lake Belton girls up
Oh
to
man.
number 4 in 5A. That's not a sport. Like they've been really good in volleyball, really good in softball, baseball, but girls basketball hasn't been the sport that we have necessarily thought about Lake Belton. And
Hmm.
23-1, right? You saw them at the MT Rice, Mike.
Hmm.
I mean,
Yeah, they're
they're pretty
really
good,
they're
right?
Yeah, they're very good. One thing I'm curious to see, and maybe she's already back, but their kind of lead point guard, Anaya Taylor, she's a junior. She had come down awkwardly on a wide open fast break layup in the game against Judson, state ranked Class 6A Judson, in that MT Rice tournament last week. And Anaya did not play in any of the two or three remaining games that tournament. The coach said it was precautionary, trying to just wait and see, what it sounded like. I mean, I was talking to some folks. It sounded like it was more of like a bone bruise than like, I mean, it definitely wasn't like a torn ACL or anything. It was definitely her knee though. But bone bruise, that's like 4 weeks, I think, roughly
Mm,
uh, for the average person. But anyway, even without Anaya Taylor, like they've got other really, really quality players on that team. Alexa King, Erica Taylor, who's Anaya's little sister. This Lake Belton team is just they're like 7 or 8 deep, and you can just tell like all of these girls are basketball girls. I mean, they can
mm.
shoot, they can like their shot looks pure, they can handle the ball really well, and then their calling card is defense. Like they will pressure you. I wouldn't say they're as like ferocious as the La Vega girls, but like they'll get up in your grill and be scrappy and use that pressure defense to turn into some offense too. So I think they'll definitely be a team to watch out for too.
I do want to, before we kind of shift gears on basketball,
Mhm.
given the season that McKenna Brackens is having for Arizona State, wouldn't y'all think there would be a ton of attention on Blake Brackens since
Agreed.
they're,
Agreed.
I agree.
yeah,
I've had
Yeah.
that same thought, and even to the point where uh, I've thought about like sort of off the record asking Baylor, "Are you interested in this girl? Like, do you guys know about her? Because uh, I mean, her sister is tearing it up,
yeah,
Mhm.
I
and
would imagine Molly Miller is probably all over that, right?
you would think so.
Maybe, yeah.
Uh, Interesting discussion. So speaking of La Vega, which Michael just did with the girls, the La Vega boys traveled to American Airlines Arena or Center, AAC, in Dallas on Saturday and gathered a 62 to 55 win over 11th ranked Brock. Now I think they're 15th and La Vega's 14th. Michael, you were there covering that one for us. What was that environment like in terms of those guys playing in an NBA arena? And then for both of you, I mean, is this an eye-opening win? Does it show that La Vega has some staying power?
The environment was cool. I think you could kind of notice even when those guys were just shooting around, like they were just kind of looking around and just kind of like it's a whole different world when you're, playing at La Vega High School versus the, American Airlines Center. And the obvious thing to bring up is like that depth of perception. You kind of
Hmm.
look behind the basket and it's just rows and rows of seats. So you
Might
could kind
hey,
of
if
tell.
they make it to San Antonio,
Well,
might be good preparation for that.
that's a really good point. And but I will say it's kind of funny, like for someone like Quay Willis, who's a senior on that team. I mean, he certainly remembers 2 years ago when these guys had the same opportunity. So it was almost kind of like, yeah, there's nerves for a lot of these guys, but for most of the seniors and maybe a couple of the juniors, I mean, they had been in that spot before. So I think it took about a quarter for them to just kind of like, okay, like settle in, like now we know where we're playing, what we're doing. And they played a really good game. That was a tall, pretty athletic, well, disciplined rock team that they played, but La Vega just kind of, took it to them in those second and third quarters, and it was good for that. I mean, that's a big win. I mean, La Vega was preseason state ranked, so I'm not going to say that they're just kind of showing up out of nowhere. I think people knew that they were going to be good, but a win over the number 11 team in 4A is a you know, pretty good win, I would say.
Well, and being that so many of our boys basketball teams have gone to region and run up against those Houston schools, to cut those opponents in half, your
Hmm.
chances of getting through are twice have to be twice as good as they were, right?
Hmm.
Um, that's got to be kind of something on the minds of those La Vega players. Also, when I mean, they look at the kind of success their girls teams have had, and they have to be thinking, "Yep, we can do that. We can do that."
Hmm.
I view
Well,
the La Vega boys as a crock pot team, and here's an analogy for you, Chad, uh, Mr. Home Cook. Now, um, crock pot. I mean, it's a slow cooker, uh, and that's very much Will Cartwright's teams because every year they get a late start in the basketball season because
Hmm.
they have a deep playoff run in football.
Hmm.
They get
Hmm.
those guys late. They don't have as many games as everybody else. They're what, like 6-2 at this point,
Six and
Michael?
two. Yeah.
Uh, but as the stew cooks, as it gets closer into this or longer into the season, um, I think they start to come together and coalesce. And I think, they're going to be better come March,
hmm hmm
than they are now for sure. So,
And one thing I'll say off of what Chad said, like Coach Cartwright will tell you to your face, like the expectation and the goal here is to get to that stage. Like they're not cool and comfortable with these, second round, third round, playoff losses. And that's not me dogging on them and saying that they're, not worth anything. They're obviously they've had some really good teams, but as Chad mentioned, running into those Houston Yates, schools. I mean, that's tough sometimes. I mean, those a lot of those guys are basketball year round, and La Vega just can't really do that. So yeah, Cartwright, that hey, that these guys like that's their goal. Like they want to get to March and beyond and try to bring home some hardware.
Are they going to be? I mean, they're going to
They'll
be
be
the
four
favorite,
AD1.
heavy favorite in their district.
Oh yeah, 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 definitely.
Who's their biggest challenger there? Do you think? Is that
On the
going to be
boys'
maybe
side,
Lorena or
honestly, maybe I'm not gonna lie. I think it's Robinson, which might
Gatesville?
surprise you. Robinson and Gatesville are both
Yeah,
pretty good this
Gatesville looks
year.
pretty good so far.
hmm
Yeah, yeah,
hmm
it'll be fun.
all
Yeah, it will
right,
be fun.
shifting topics, we're angling towards UIL realignment. And with that, I think we've done this a lot over the years where we'll pick three winners, pick three losers, There's always winners and losers in that redistricting process. Obviously, we won't really be able to identify those people until we specifically know the districts. But we can make some educated guesses. And we do have some information at our fingertips already. So, who are your guesses on who some of the winners and losers will be?
Michael, you've taken a closer look at this, so I'm going to defer to you on it.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'll just kind of mention a few easy ones here. I think Lorena's a big winner.
Absolutely.
Moving down to 3A Division One. I mean, that's kind of cut and dry. I mean, there's not. I mean,
3A
look
in
at
all
what they.
sports. You're
Yeah,
talking
in
about
all
a
sports.
arena
Yeah.
program that across the board in most sports is good. And
hmm
anytime you drop down a level, or drop down a classification, that makes a difference.
It does, and I will commend that. I think they've been competitive at the 4A level. I mean, like it's not like they're just getting kicked around and really have like this. It's not like they don't stand a chance at that level, especially in that district. But it is going to make a difference. And I mean, we saw what they were able to do kind of across the board in those early 2020s years. And I mean that has to be a huge difference for them. One other team I'll mention as maybe a loser, but I guess we'll kind of wait and see because they've had success at this level. But China Spring going up to 4A Division One. They'll be
I
our
I
only
completely
area team
agree,
at
and I
that level.
wrote them down. I mean,
Yeah,
they're gonna be hurt from a travel standpoint.
that's true too. Yeah.
I mean, because, and I was talking with Josh Gregory about it at one point. I mean, I think there was even a mock realignment out there that had like San Angelo Central with them or something.
Jeez. Wow.
Yeah, which is, that's
I mean,
not,
I
That's the
figured.
longest district game I've ever heard of.
well, we had it, remember, Chad, a few years back with like San Angelo Central and Waco High and University all in the same district.
Oh
That's
wow. Okay.
weird. That's
Okay.
weird.
Yeah.
Well, I see. I figured China Spring would have gotten back in that. Well, what is it? Alvarado? Is it Stephen? Is Stephenville in that one too? Who all's in that
Right,
4A
but
division?
I
Yeah,
think it maybe it's not San Angelo Central that I'm thinking of, but I'm pretty sure.
but
I'd
it's
have to go
probably
back and look.
somewhere way out there. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's just one of those schools out there that doesn't have a lot of schools of its size around it.
hmm
Mm.
hmm
Mhm.
So yeah, I agree. China Springs kind of a loser. Another one I would mention as a loser. And look, we're saying loser. That doesn't mean these teams can't still have success.
Right.
We could
But
say tough draw, going to play
hmm
bigger schools. A lot of
sure.
ways we could put
But
that.
look at another one I think we have to mention is Hamilton.
Hamilton,
coming off
100%.
the best year ever that it ever had, and now it has to move up to 3A. And I mean, I think that's going to be a different animal.
Well, they're going from one of the biggest fish in their pond to now being one of the smallest in their pond, and it's only by like a couple kids too, which like
Yeah, two kids.
that's just
Two
a
kids.
tough draw.
You couldn't have given those two kids the flu on the days that it was time to count.
Uh-huh.
Well, I've heard that Hamilton has a lot of transfer portal prospects in.
That's just gonna keep banging these jokes out.
I have a few other schools if y'all want to just run
Sure,
through a couple of
sure.
these quick. Crawford going down to 2A Division
See,
Two. Now look,
y'all are sitting
yeah,
over here like I can't contribute anything. I was going to say Crawford.
yeah, no, we'll go ahead. Yeah,
No, they're going from 2AD1 to 2AD2,
yeah,
right? So,
yeah.
although that
Well,
might not be that big of a
I was
W
about to
for them.
say, could they end up
yeah.
with Mart
Well,
and Bremond and Chilton?
so I've seen that, but I've also seen them like maybe they'll go further west, like I don't know. I mean, we'll just have to wait and see. But yeah, as you guys mentioned, that could like they could be a winner, they could be like that's kind of one of those like right in the
Mhm.
middle. I don't know
Crawford
which one
and
it could be.
Mart, just for a little history, were schools that we always thought should play each other in football and often
Hmm.
didn't. And I think it was one of those where people just did not like to play Mart because you
Hmm.
often got your butt handed to you. But
Hmm.
um,
This
you
is
know,
going in depth on the high school stuff, but I have a feeling Michael is going to have the answer. Are Meridian and Heiko going to be 2AD2?
I think so. I don't know
So
for
you could
sure.
see kind of a district forming there that's a little bit more that Highway 6 mode.
Hmm.
you could, yeah, for sure.
Hmm.
So we'll see how it all plays out. That's coming pretty quick down the road. And another thing that's just around the corner, we have another big football national signing day coming in February. Uh, Obviously, a lot of our top recruits, including London Smith at University, Jamarian Vincent at Conley, signed back in December in that early signing period. But we'll probably be even busier with signings in February. That's just the way it goes. We have more kids that sign at, I would say, the other levels of football. Um,
Hmm.
so, who are some unsigned seniors in our area that you think might help somebody on Saturday? Saturdays, fall Saturday.
Hmm.
I think the obvious answer is maybe Evan Moreno,
Okay.
I
right?
like it. I like it.
Has he signed yet? I don't think
No, he
so.
hasn't.
No, I know he has some offers, but he hasn't signed
Yeah,
yet.
yeah.
No, he's
Um,
he's a good running back.
Very
Hmm.
good. I think from an overall athlete standpoint, who, in my opinion, could go multiple routes here, I think Quay Willis at La Vega.
So, Michael, he's on the Centex 25, the highest
Mhm,
ranked guy that
mhm.
hasn't signed yet.
Yeah,
So, I agree with you.
it's so funny because like I love talking to his parents about this. He's such a good football player. Like we know how good of a defensive back he is, but every time I watch him in basketball, I just look over at them. I'm like, y'all got a hooper boy, man. Like that kid is just he's a basketball kid. I genuinely think he could go either route if he wants.
Nice. Well, it's nice to
Maybe
have
he'll be
options.
the next Charlie Ward.
Charlie Ward, boy, that's a good one.
That's a name.
A dude that won the Heisman and played in the NBA.
Yeah,
That's kind of
Uh,
crazy, isn't it?
very rare. Yeah.
I'll mention a couple others. Both of these guys are on the Syntex 25. Um, London Bickham at MCH. He has an offer from UTSA. Hasn't signed yet, but I would suspect if there's not a lot of other D1 offers just rolling through the door, that he'll end up taking that offer. I heard, I think it was his coach that mentioned um, he got some Christmas presents, and one of them was like a UTSA sweatshirt. He was kind of excited about that, or something, hoodie or
Right.
something. Uh, so London, that would be quite a jump from private school 6-man football to D1, football. But more power to him. Great story there. And then a guy that I think could play quarterback somewhere, but punter for sure, Cole Collins
Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
at Fairfield. Like
Mm-hmm.
that kid's got to be getting some looks. I mean, he can punt the crap out of the ball, but he obviously was
Hmm.
our first team Super Centex quarterback too.
Hmm.
I've got a name and a thought that just
Okay.
came to
Okay.
mind. Somewhere there's a football program that is going to benefit from signing Amos Phillips.
I like it. Yeah.
Just a fantastic football player.
Yeah, he's really
Yeah.
good.
And probably not a Power Five player, but in this day and age, you never know how you're going to ascend that thing. And maybe I shouldn't say this, but I'm real interested to see what Bryson Rowland is going to do the next couple of years. Because another 1,000-yard season at the level he's at, he could be on the radar, for one of those transfer situations. That wasn't my other thought. My other thought is this: on signing day in February, are we going to see some Eastern New Mexico Lobo green in some places?
Nice. That's a good question. I mean,
Great
uh,
point.
I obviously I think Art Briles knows Texas, and it is probably going to hit the state hard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's a great question.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he
Hmm.
brought in Jeff Hume
Mm-hmm.
as an assistant coach there.
Right.
Jeff Hume, the former Midway coach, another guy
Always.
that would be familiar with this area.
I said the Lobos. I guess I was thinking New Mexico Lobos. They're the Greyhounds,
The
Correct.
Greyhounds.
the Eastern New Mexico Greyhounds. And I had a Central Texas coach uh, chat with me at Common Ground yesterday morning, and he kind of had that Art Briles nostalgia in his eyes. I guess we were talking about Baylor football or something. He asked me what the chances of Art Briles coming back to Baylor were, and I said I thought that was probably zero. And
Right.
then
Zero.
that unpacked a whole
Zero.
other discussion that I won't get into here. But there's a lot of still nostalgia about Art Briles, and so I think if the Greyhounds did come recruit in Central Texas, they'd have some ears of some people.
Well, just a little story there, Chad.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was talking with Jeb Dixon, the Oglesby coach, at one
Mm-hmm.
point. I don't remember if maybe I was calling him to try to get Super Syntax nominations or something. I don't remember what it was. And he was like, "Yeah, I've got Kyler Fawcett here in my office." So Kyler Fawcett is at Eastern New Mexico,
Mm-hmm.
just finished
Mm-hmm.
his freshman year there, and
Mm-hmm.
he was one of those situations where, oh no, you've got a coaching change. What do you do? Do I stay? Do I go? Da 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 da. And Jeb was telling him, look, man, I think you should stick around and give it a shot. And I said, well, Art Browns does know offense. I mean, like,
Mm-hmm.
and so who knows?
Have
Maybe,
either of you guys ever been to Portales, New Mexico?
No,
maybe,
sir.
No.
maybe.
Nope.
Uh, Usually
It's
I've just sort of driven through New Mexico on my way to
yeah.
someplace.
I go through Clovis sometimes when I go to Angel Fire, and it's kind of weird. Clovis and Portales should be one town, right? I mean, they're
Gotcha.
that close together. It's like, how are these two towns? New Mexico needs more big towns. They just need to make it like Port Clovis or something.
Nice.
Okay. Thank you for that geography lesson of New Mexico for our New Mexico podcast listeners.
Mhm.
All right. Well, we'll try to keep this going throughout the rest of the school years. Keep talking
It'll
high.
be great to talk basketball once I've seen some basketball.
There
Fair
you
enough.
go. Well, you'll be
I'm
out
not going to
there.
catch up with Michael. I know Michael's already seen more games than I will see all year.
Yeah, maybe so,
Well
honestly.
played. Well played. Thanks, dudes. See ya.